day 6 of making videos every single day for the month of December in the hope of becoming monetized by the end of the year. I'm going to talk about How to Train Your Dragon. I know it's not an anime, but it is animated, so I want to talk about that because there's a lot of lessons that can be gleaned from How to Train Your Dragon. Hiccup was always told by his father that he needed to kill dragons. He needed to be a dragon slayer. He had to do this thing because this is what makes a man. This is what a man is a man is somebody that kills the dragons. Hiccup, he didn't want to be that type of person. He wanted to be his own person. He wanted to have his own definition of success. He wanted to change how people viewed dragons, how they viewed the world that they lived in. He had the courage not to kill a dragon. He was stronger than any other Viking ever could be because he decided to say, no, I'm not going to be who you tell me to be. I'm going to create my own definition of success. I'm going to create my own version of how I think the world should be, because Hiccup was as terrified as Toothless was, and Toothless was as terrified as Hiccup was. And they both had this fear, and yet they brought the best out of each other because they were both terrified. They both didn't want to kill one another. They both wanted to survive. They were both creatures of love that wanted to show that there was a different way of viewing the world. We didn't have to view the world in this animosity where everybody's bad, everybody does bad things. The only way to survive is either you kill or it's be killed, and it's like, that's not the case. We can love one another. We can have somebody that brings the best out in us. Hiccup had brought the best out in Toothless, and Toothless brought the best out in Hiccup. If it wasn't for the combination of the both of them, then they wouldn't have been able to become the family that he did with Astrid. He wouldn't have been able to have the kids. Hiccup and Toothless wouldn't have been able to be the twin flames that would grow together to become a unit that was undefeatable, that could stand up against any adversity, that could stand up against the Alpha and the Omega, and be the one that took charge and decided to protect their own. That is the story of How to Train Your Dragon. That is your story. That is the story that each and every single one of us right now, we get to decide our future. We get to decide our fate. We get to decide, do we want to be the person that kills the dragons, or do we want to be the person that looks the dragons in the eyes and realizes that they were as afraid as we were at that time, and we didn't understand how to accept that. We didn't understand how to process that. We just accepted that, oh, everybody tells us so, we just need to kill it. And it's like, well, what if we don't? What if we don't have to kill it? What if instead we accepted our demons? What if instead we accepted our dragons? What if instead we became one with our dragons and rode them around, and they protected us and they stood up for us? What then? What if the way that we've been viewing the world and the way that we see things has been wrong this entire time? What if just by accepting our dragons, by accepting our fate, by accepting who we are and having the courage to show what's on the inside, what if that changes everything? What if that changes the whole world? What if that brings into light a new perspective that we never considered?